All right, today we're going to start partial quotients, 4 digits, 1, 2, 3, 4, divided by 1 digit. This is the with video, and this is multi-digit division. We're going to begin with 3,947 divided by 9. First, we're going to find our benchmark multiples. So we will find all multiples of 9. Pause the video. Alright, so we have 9 times 1 equals 9. 9 times 5 is 45. 9 times 10, 90. 9 times 50, 9 times 5 is 45, and then we have a 0 in the ones place. 9 times 100, 900. I'm going to try 9 times 500 and see if I can get close to 3,900. So 9 times 5,000, we discussed 9 times 5 is 45. And then 2 zeros. Oh dear, that's way too big. I'm gonna say, all right, 100 groups of 9 was too small. I only got to 900. 500 groups was too big. I'm gonna try going down to 400 groups of 9. So 4 groups of 9 would be 36. And 400 groups would be 3,600. If I can think about how many groups it might be good to multiply by that in zeros, then it's easier for me to do partial quotients. Because if I'm sitting here subtracting 900 over and over again, that's going to take me a long time. All right, now that I have something that's close, I'm going to write my equation. Remember to use a pencil or a finger space so that you have some room to write the divided by 9. So we're going to write 3,947 divided by 9. And then I'm going to draw my line down because on this side I'm doing repeated subtraction. And on this side, I'm doing groups of 9. Alrighty. What multiple of 9 is the largest number that I can take away? Well, I see 3,600. So I'm going to take away 3,600. 7 minus 0 is 7. 4 minus 0 is 4. 9 minus 6 is 3. And 3 minus 3 is nothing. That's awesome. I'm already down to 347. Now, if I look here, I have 450, which is close, but too big. I cannot take 450 away from 347. And 90 is small. I don't really want to take away 90 over and over again because that's going to be a lot of subtracting. So, instead, I'm going to come over here and make another benchmark. I have 10 groups of 9, which is too small, and I'll have to subtract over and over again. And 50 groups of 9 is too big. So I'm going to try 40 groups of 9. So I'm going to come down here. 9 times 40. Well, we know 9 times 4 is 36. And then we have 1 0. 360 is still too big. So I'm going to try again. This time, I'm going to say, okay, not 40. Let's try 30. 9 times 3 is 27. So 9 times 30 is 270. That I can take away. I'm going to take away 270. 7 minus 0 is 7. 4 minus 7, I can't do. So I can either regroup and cross out my 3 and make it 200s and then give 10 more. Or I can cover up my 7 and 0 with my finger and just look at 34 minus 27. So let's just look at 34 minus 27. Well, if I had a number line that went from 27 to 34, I would say how many spaces are between 27 and 34? Let me count. 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34. How many spaces is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So if I count up from 27 to 34, we have 7. Which I also could have said, okay, 2, 10 more is 14. 14 minus 7 is 7. Either way works. Now I have 77. What is the largest amount I can take away? I can take away 45. I'm going to take away 45. 7 minus 5 is 2. 7 minus 4 is 3. All right, now we're down to 32. What's the largest amount we can take away? Well, we could take away 9. I could also say, I know how to skip count by 9s. I'm going to skip count really quick. 9, 18, 27, 36, 45. Okay, and I can see that 32 would fall right in here. So I can say, all right, that means that 9 times 3 is 27. I could take away 27. Minus 27. Again, I'm going to skip count up. Count up, not skip count. Count up from 27 to 32. 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. Woo! How'd I get to 32? That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5. 5 is smaller than my divisor, so I know that 5 is a remainder because I cannot take away any more groups of 9. All right, now I'm going to go next to each number that I subtracted because these are all multiples of 9, and I'm going to ask myself, how many groups of 9 is in 3,600? Well, in 3,600, there are 400 groups of 9. So I'm going to write 400. Then we have 270. 270 is how many groups of 9? So I looked on my list. 270 is 30 groups of 9. And I go to 45. 45 is how many groups of 9? 5 groups of 9. Then we go to 27. 27 is 3 groups of 9. If I add up this total, what is my total number of groups of 9? 400, 430, 435, 400, 38. So 438 is in each group of 9, and then we have a remainder of 5. So great job, we found our benchmark multiples. We solved the division problem using partial quotients. Now, number 3, we need to check our answer with multiplication. So we're going to take our quotient times our divisor and see what that equals. So our quotient that we came up with was 438 groups of 9. So we're going to multiply that out. 438 times our divisor, which is 9. And I'm going to do partial quotients. So I will first do my 1s times my 1s. 8 times 9 is 72. Next, we'll do our 10s times our 1s. That is 3 10s, which is 30 times 9. 3 times 9 is 27, and a 0 in the 1s place. And then lastly, we have our 100s times our 1s. So 400 times 9. I have a 0 in the 1s place, 0 in the 10s place, and then 4 times 9 is 36. I will add those up. 2 plus nothing is 2. 7 plus 7 plus 0 is 14. 1 plus 2 is 3, plus 6 more is 9. And 3 plus nothing else is 3,000. Now let's check, is that the answer that we started with? 3,942? It is not the answer that we started with. We started with 3,947. So we are missing a few. That tells us, we forgot about our remainder. Once we add our remainder of 5, we have 7 1s, 4 10s, 9 hundreds, and 3 thousands. That is what we started with. So 438 remainder 5 is correct. Great job. Now let's move on to problem number 2. 8,601 divided by 4. We're going to go through this one a little bit quicker. So I want you to make all of your benchmarks for multiples of 4. If you feel that there are better benchmarks than 1, 5, 10, 50, 100, and 500, then go ahead and put those in, just like we did over here. We did 440, 30, and 3. So if you find it more efficient to have your own multiples, that's totally fine. These are just benchmarks to see where we can best start. Pause the video and do your multiples of 4. All right, now let's write our problem out. 8,601 divided by 4. Okay. When we have this problem, we're going to say, all right, what's the largest number of multiple over here that I can take away? From 8,000, I can take away 4,000. Now, if you said the largest number I can take away is 8,000, that's also true. You could have done 4 times 2,000 would equal 8,000. Okay, but I'm going to do 4,000. 1 minus 0 is 1. 0 minus 0 is 0. 6 minus 0 is 6. And 8 minus 4 is 4. Super. Now, let's look at our benchmarks again. We have 4,601. What's the largest amount I can take away? Largest amount I can take away again is 4,000. So we're going to take away 4,000. Go ahead and subtract that. 1, 0, 6, and nothing. 601. What's the largest amount that I can take away from 601? Can't take away 8,000. Can't take away 4,000. Nope, not 2,000. But I can take away 400. 201. What's the largest amount I can take away? I can take away 200. This was a pretty easy problem. I have one left over. It is smaller than our divisor of 4, so we know that 1 will be a remainder. We forgot to write groups of 4. How many groups of 4 are in 4,000? In 4,000, there are 1,000 groups of 4. 1,000. In 4,000, how many groups of 4 are there? Again, there are 1,000 groups of 4. You're probably doing this faster than me. In 400, how many groups of 4 are there? There's 100 groups of 4. In 200, how many groups of 4 are there? In 200, there are 50 groups of 4. Total, we have 1,000, 2,000, 2,100, 2,150. Groups of 4. So, when we divide 8,600, 1 divided by 4, we get 2,150. Remainder 1. We have 1 left over that can't get to split equally into 4 groups. Let's check our answer. Quotient times divisor. Our quotient was 2,150 times our divisor of 4. We're going to multiply our 1's first. 0 times 4 is 0. Then our 10's. Not 5, but 50 times 4 is a 0 in the 1's place, and 5 times 4 is 20. Next, we have our hundreds times our 1's. So we have 100 times 4 is 400. And lastly, we have our thousands times 4. 2,000 times 4. That means 3 zeros, and then 2 times 4 is 8. If we add that up, we get 0 1's, 0 10's, 600's, and 8,000's. But we started with 8,601, so we need to add our remainder of 1. And we will get 1068. That is what we started with. So we know that our answer is correct. Whew, that was a lot of math. Looks so beautiful in all the colors though. All right, on to the last problem on this video before you do it on your own. 5,232 divided by 8. our benchmarks are going to be multiples of 8. Go ahead and make your benchmarks for 8. Pause the video. All right, now that we have our benchmarks, make sure you go up to 500. Let's write 5,232 divided by 8. And we're going to draw our line down to separate our repeated subtraction from our groups of 8. All right, as we look, we're going to say, all right, I have 5,232. What is the largest number, multiple of 8, that I can take away from 5,000? I can take away 4,000. So I'm going to take away 4,000. I have 2. 3 minus 0 is 3. 2 minus 0 is 2. 5 minus 4 is 1. Now I have a little over 1,000. Alrighty. Well, what's the largest number that I can take away? Well, I can take away 800. So I'm going to subtract 800. Please make sure that you're remembering your subtraction signs when we subtract, and that we're staying organized, that all of our ones are in the ones places, tens in the tens places, hundreds in the hundreds place, thousands in the thousands place. All right, 2 minus 0 is 2. 3 minus 0 is 3. 2 minus 8, ooh, can't do it. But I'm going to use my little trick and cover up the ones and the tens place and just look at 12 minus 8. I know what 12 minus 8 is. I can count up from 8 to 12. I'm going to make my little number line down here just so you can see it. I'm going to start at 8 and I'm going to go to 12. How many do I need to make? 9, 10, 11, 12. That is 4 spaces. So 12 minus 8 is 4. Alrighty, now I have 432 left. What's the largest multiple of 8 that I can take away? I can take away 400. That was an easy one. Now I have 32 left. What's the largest amount that I can take away? 8. But because I am very good at skip counting, I can count by 8s. 8, 16, 24, 32. 32 is a multiple of 8. And hopefully you noticed that when you saw 32, that we can skip count by 8s to get to 32. So 8 times 1, 8 times 2, 8 times 3, 8 times 4. So I'm going to write 8 times 4 equals 32. So I can take away 32. Now if you prefer, you can keep subtracting 8 4 times, but this is going to be a lot more efficient. So 32 minus 32 is 0. Super. Alrighty. Let's look at each of the numbers that we subtracted. How many groups of 8 are in 4,000? Look at your benchmarks. In 4,000, there are 500 groups of 8. So we're going to write 500 groups of 8. Then we have 800. In 800, how many groups of 8 are there? There are 100 groups of 8. Oops, 100. Then in 400, How many groups of 8 are there? There are in 450 groups of 8. And then lastly, in 32, we have 4 groups of 8. So if I total these up, I have 500, 600, 650, 654 groups of 8. And there is no remainder, so we don't need to write that. Our answer is 654. Now, we are going to check that. We have our quotient times our divisor. So we got 654 as our quotient. 654. And then we need to multiply it by our divisor. So we were doing groups of 8. This should equal our dividend. So we're going to keep organized. 1s times our 1s. 4 times 8 is 32. 5 tens is 50 times 8. There's a 0 in the 1's place. 5 times 8 is 40. And then we have 600 times 8. So 0 in the 1s, 0 in the 10s. And then 6 times 8 is 48. Now we need to add them up because those are all of our parts. 2, 3, 4, and 8. Sorry, I didn't line those up very well. 4 plus 8 is 12. Carry the 1 above the thousands place. And we have 1 plus 4 is 5. 5,232 is the dividend that we started with. So we know that 654 was the correct quotient. I'm so proud of you guys. You've done such a great job on using a place value chart and using partial quotients. The last thing that I'm going to ask you to do is to do the on your own side. So this is 4-digit divided by 1-digit. You're going to, like all the other videos, and on your own, you're going to do your benchmarks, do your partial quotients, and check your answer to make sure that your quotient is correct. Happy learning, my awesome students!